What's up, epic travelers? Happy Halloween. It's not Halloween, it's actually Labor Day, but Halloween has started officially at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando. I went out there the first couple nights, so I'm here to talk to you guys about what I experienced, give you a rundown of the event, talk to you about my house list, my rankings so far, and also at the end of the video I'm going to give you an awesome tip that you cannot miss for next year's Halloween. I know I'm already talking about next year, but that's okay. Stick around to the end to get the tip for next year's Halloween Horror Nights. So the rundown this year is that there is this kind of semi-icon called Dr. Oddfellow, kind of tying everything together. He's like that central theme that we're going to see throughout the event. They've got 5 different scare zones. The most up front one is Dr. Oddfellow's Horror Collection. That's right when you come in the park, you see the big entrance signs. Halloween Horror Nights is right there, and then you got Dr. Oddfellow there, kind of being basically the park icon this year. Scare Zone is fine. It's not anything special. I don't think any of the Scare Zones this year are anything super amazing, but it was cool. It was well done. There's some good characters walking around. There's a little bit of a show that you can see there as well. As you go down into Hollywood, Dark Zodiac is the next Scare Zone that you'll encounter. Again, pretty good. It's the same thing that you usually do there on Hollywood Boulevard. Got some props that get set up, some guys that walk around, lots of chainsaws. So again, not bad, not terrible, not great. It kind of is what it is. If you keep going past that into the pathway before you get into the old Kid Zone area, which is now under construction, is Jungle of Doom. They've got some bats in the trees. They've got some guys walking around. Overall, pretty good Scare Zone. This is my favorite Scare Zone this year. But again, the Scare Zones this year, I'm never a Scare Zone guy, so you know, it is what it is. If you keep going around the lagoon and get back to the San Francisco area, you've got Shipyard 32. It's kind of the same thing that you usually get over in that area. Again, it's not great, it's not impressive, but it's kind of similar to what we've seen in the past. It's fine, it's good for what it is, but it's nothing impressive. And then as you walk back towards the front, you get into that New York section. That's Vamp 69 Summer of Blood. Vamp 69 is good. There's a big stage set up, there's a bunch of cars they put out in the streets. Some good scares. It's interesting. There's people that walk around that you don't really think are scare actors. Some that are pretty obvious, but it's cool. It's a pretty good, interesting mix of that. The event overall, loving it so far. The food, fantastic. We already did the Taste of Terror video previously, so we previewed a bunch of the food. We'll have another video in the future that will go over more of the food, but food, good stuff, man. Bars, real quick, while I'm talking about food and drink. This year they have a bar set up right outside of the Animal Actors Stadium, which they don't use anymore. And it's one of the 3 places you can get liquor, which is important for some people. The smaller booths just have beer and sometimes the specialty drinks from the event, but there is a bar set up right in front of the Animal Actors. It's covered. It's nice there. Pretty big area, a good amount of bartenders. Then they also have the Peacock Bar, which is behind Lombard's. Previously, that bar was like a hidden gem. They always had a bar back there, but there really wasn't a lot going on. You could always walk up there and get a drink. It was a great place to go. Now they have big like kind of signage about it, and maybe it's because it was the first weekend, but there were definitely a lot of people there. It is no longer a hidden gem anymore. And then your fail-safe is always going to be Finnegan's. Finnegan's is always busy, but these new bars have made it a little bit easier to kind of get in there and grab a drink if you want something very specific. Otherwise, all the booths are going to have, you know, your regular beer and your Truly, and then usually the specialty drinks they have throughout the parks. So we'll go over all the food stuff in a different video, and let's get into our houses. So we'll start off with number 10, Darkest Deal. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is a terrible take, but Darkest Deal is terrible. I didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't that good to me. The people are trying hard. I didn't like the story. Maybe that's what it is. It's that story about, what's his name? Pine Straw Spruce. Can't say that. He sold his soul to the devil, and so he can be this musician. I get the story in the house. It's just not. I didn't like it. I don't think it's that well done. Scare Actors doing a good job. They're working with what they got. Again, something's got to be 10, and for me, this is 10. Number 9 was my surprise, I think, low one. Last of Us. I just recently watched the series. Loved the series. I've never played the video game. I feel like the house was more the video game, which I don't think matters. I still got the gist of it. I just, maybe again, I had poor timing or an off run. I just didn't. I didn't love it. It was not bad by any means. Like, don't get me wrong, this was not a bad house. It's just, it was below a lot of things for me this year, so that's my number 9. Number 8, again, something that I kind of expected to be a little bit higher, was Stranger Things Part 4. Highlights for the house, some of the scenes are awesome. The characters, the scare actors that they cast for the characters was spot on. I felt like I was like, that's the person right out of the show. It's got to be the person right out of the show. The costume designs were great. The people were great. They were cast really well. It's a good house. It's just not as good as some of the others for me. So I dropped it down there. There is a big component missing there. It's not really a spoiler, but there's certain characters that are in the show that are integral to the show that are just absent from the house. And for me, I was looking for that, I guess, and maybe that's why it dropped it down. So maybe my expectations made it a little lower than it should have been, but I'll take it nonetheless. Next one was Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. I was impressed with this house. I didn't think I was going to like it very much. I haven't seen the show, still haven't seen the show, but I don't know if you need to see the show. I feel like there's some iconic scenes in the house that if I had seen the show, I might have appreciated it even more. But the puppets in this house are good. Like, good. You came out of the gate and there's an awesome puppet and you're like, well, that's cool, but it set the bar. Like, it set the tone for the house. That puppet was on point, and the rest of them in the house I thought were on point too. It's the same setup as Blumhouse last year. We have almost a break in the middle, and I thought it was over, and I was kind of disappointed, but then there's more. There's more. So it was actually a pleasant surprise that there was more, so I really enjoyed that aspect of the house. I'm looking forward to some more runs in that house. Next up on my list is Oddfellows Twisted Origins. This is the house, again, where our icon, pseudo-icon, Dr. Oddfellow, has his, what do they call them, the menacing menagerie of twisted oddities. I guess the old school, like, was the American Horror Story Freak Show, that type of thing. It was good. It was good. The scares were good. The scenes were really good. Everything was good. I thought it was a good house. Again, for me, it's kind of middle of the road right now, but it's done pretty well. My number 5 is going to be Blood Moon Dark Offerings. I've talked to some people here and there, and they didn't like Blood Moon. I really enjoyed Blood Moon. It was surprisingly fun. Again, maybe I just had some good runs in it. I had really good timing with all of my runs. You walk in the house, there's a big blood moon, and I guess, again, the concept in this one is that there's some people that are like moon worshippers. It's set, when is it set? It's colonial times. And basically, if you're not a moon worshipper, then they're going to come get you. And they're going to make like sacrifices to the moon, I guess. It was good, though. I thought it was good. The theming was really good. The sets were really good. I had a good time in this house for sure. I really enjoyed it. Number 4 on my list was Exorcist Believer. I think that the fact that they haven't even come out with this movie yet is good. It's promising. The concept in this one is that 2 girls go off into the woods. They come back a few days later. They think it's just a couple hours. They don't really have an explanation as to what happened or what's going on. They are basically possessed, and then you go through that progression with them. They're, them disappearing and then being found and then kind of acting funny to like straight up possession. It's good. It's good. It makes me actually really excited for the movie, which comes out here, and I think in the next month or so. So, again, really good house, really well done. I think it definitely has potential to stay right in that area. My 3 and my 2, I kind of changed back and forth. I went back and forth on these. Basically, it's 2A and 2B for right now. But my top 3 are like my top tier, personally. I think my top 3 I'd be surprised if they changed, but we'll see. I'm hoping that they change because that means that something different happened or I got better experience in something else. But number 3 from right now is Yeti Campground Kills. The Yeti is in this, what is it, the 1950s campground area. It's good, man. The Yetis are good. This characters do an amazing job in this house. Again, not throwing any spoilers out there, but Bear. I mean, Bear. It's awesome. Had a really good time in this house, and I hope to go back again soon to experience that. Number 2, again, was a surprise for me. I didn't think that this would be so high, and it was Monsters Unmasked. This is, again, the one where you're set in the catacombs of Paris, and it's got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's got Phantom of the Opera, and who else? Hunchback of Notre Dame, and then The Invisible Man. That's it. Yes, that's it. It's good. It's really good. It's similar to last year's Monsters House, but it's different as well. I had a really good run in it. The room where you kind of encounter like the Invisible Man, really good. Definitely one of my scares I got of the night, which I didn't get a lot, but that was a good one for sure. And then that hopefully leaves me with the one left, which you probably know by now, which is Dragons. It's, man, Dueling Dragons it was one of my favorite rides at Islands of Adventure, so I had already had high expectations for this, and I feel like it delivered. It's so good. It is so good. Basically, they recreated the line, which was always an amazing queue. If you haven't experienced the queue, go on YouTube in another video and find the queue from Dueling Dragons, because it was long, it was intricate, there was a cool story behind it, and they basically took that and made a house. So again, there's these two kind of dueling, I guess, wizards. You know, there's Merlin is the main one, but then there's two factions, I guess, these two wizards that are battling, and there's fire, there's ice, and they go through this cool, like, metamorphosis, I guess is the word I would use, where they're like the wizards at first, they kind of become a little more animal-like, and at the end it's these two dragons kind of fighting, and then again, I'm not trying to throw spoilers in, but man, you get to choose your path at some point, and God, that brought back so many feels, so many memories, and I don't know if Dueling Dragons will be kicked off the top of my list. Again, I hope it does, but I really doubt it, because, man, that thing was good. Other important things from the event, the tribute store. Man, I like that tribute store. They did a really good job with the tribute store. The merch is really good. I always like the tribute store, but, man, I feel like they really killed it again this year. Overall, the event was great. We'll get into another video to talk about the Stay and Scream and kind of how to maximize that. It was crazy. It was just overall crazy the first night, and that's my biggest tip for 2024 for you guys. Try not to go the opening night. I went the opening night, and a lot of people did as well. The Stay and Scream areas were out of control, basically at capacity, off and on. The weather was crazy and unpredictable. I'll put a little bit of that in here too. It was just a monsoon. It was so crazy to begin with. The amount of rain that came down, lightning hit right on Hollywood Boulevard. I mean, I felt the ground shake that the lightning hit so close to me. It was a crazy experience, but skip the first night if you can. Again, everybody wants to go the first night. I went the first night because I wanted to be the first one. Just like you go to the opening night of a movie, you don't want any spoilers, you want to experience yourself, which is fine, but opening night's rough. Even with Express, you really probably can't get everything done. You might be able to, but it's going to be hard. They're still trying to figure out how to, manage regular lines with Express and how many people to put through each. So it's an experience for us, and then also for the team members too that are going through that. Overall, this year is awesome. You should absolutely try to find a way to get down to Orlando and experience Halloween Horror Nights 2023. You're going to have an awesome time. Again, the Scarezones are great. The food is fantastic. The houses, again, I think the houses are excellent. Usually there's a couple houses I'm like, well, it was okay. For me personally, so far, I only have one of those houses, which is pretty impressive. I've got like my one house at the bottom, I've got a big chunk there in the middle, and then I've got my top 3 up top. So I think that either way, no matter what, you're going to have an awesome time going through the houses there at Halloween Horror Nights. I'm looking forward to going back. I will be back at some point to give you guys my updated house rankings, because again, things always change. Some houses move up or down, but hopefully you guys can get out there soon. Let me know what houses you guys think are the best and which ones that I messed up and missed, and I'll be back for another episode soon. So, as always, stay epic.